when we think about our volume formulas, we really only have 3 formulas for volume. The first formula we have works on a prism or a cylinder. So one of the things we have to do at the start is figure out what shape we have. So if we have a prism or a cylinder, you can use the volume formula, V, which stands for volume, equals big B, and there is a difference between uppercase B and lowercase b, big B times H, where H is the height. Now big B is equal to the area of the base. Because if we remember from Friday, in a cylinder, we have 2 bases. And what shape is that base on a cylinder? It's a circle. So if we're talking about a circle, we would use pi r squared as our formula for big B. What if we had a triangular prism? So something with triangles on the bases. We would use base times height over 2. What if it was a rectangular base? What would it be? Just base times height. So big B can be any formula as long as it's the area formula for the base of your shape. And this is where knowing those area formulas from the past couple of days is going to come in key, is because it's going to help us find our big B. So if you notice, big B is the area of your base, little b is the side length on your, like the base of your base. So it stands for the, so there is that difference where it stands for a length of your base, not big B, area of the base. So for those of you guys who like to use capitals for everything or lowercase for everything, there is a difference, so be careful. So let's look at number 3 on the paper I just gave you. This is going to be our first example. Start off with what shape is our base? Triangle. Also, I didn't ask this, but is it a prism or a cylinder? It's a prism because we actually have 2 bases. We have the one on top and the one on bottom, making it a prism. Okay, so when we look at that base, I'm going to start by finding my big B, the area of that triangle. So which 2 sides are we going to use to find the area of that triangle? What do you think, Max? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
5 and what?
2.5.
What are we looking at for the relationship between the 2 sides?
Make a 90.
Perpendicular, 90 degrees. So which 2 make a 90? 3 and 4. Just because I ask a question doesn't mean it was wrong. Okay?
Sounds like it. We're like, oh.
No, because you guys have to have confidence in what you believe. Say, yeah, you do. Okay. So 3 times 4 divided by 2. So that'll give us 12 over 2. So the area of our base is 6. So when we go to our volume formula, we're going to have our big B times H. So big B we just found was 6. And then the height of our prism is 7. So 42 inches cubed. So the first step we're going to do in our volume is figure out the area of our base, whatever that base might be. So we're going to be doing what we did on Friday and on the block day last week, finding area. Okay, let's also look at number 1 while we're here. A cylinder with base 12 inches and height of 3, or 12 inches squared, and height of 3. So here we do have a cylinder, so we are using the same formula big B times H. What information does the problem give us?
Height is 3 inches.
Okay, it gives us the height is 3,
And the base is 12.
and it gives us the area of the base is 12. So do I have to do any work then to find big B? No. And this is a common mistake that is made. When it gives us the area of the base, we sometimes go straight into solving for big B and don't catch that they gave it to us, so we don't have to do any work. So this, it's giving us big B right here. So we just have to do 12 times 3 to get 36 inches cubed. So be very careful when you're reading some of these problems, because sometimes it'll give you the area of the base so you don't have to do any work. Okay.
So it is squared.
Area squared, volume is cubed. That's why I'm doing inches cubed to the third power. An easy way to remember it is area is 2 dimensions, length and width. So you square it. Volume is 3 dimensions, so it's going to be cubed. Okay, next up we have the shapes of a pyramid or cone. These two also have the same formula. Our formula here is big B times H divided by 3. Big B still stands for the area of the base. And our bases, if it's a cone, what's the shape of our base in a cone? It's a circle, so it could be pi r squared. What about here? What shape is this one? It's a rectangle, so we're going to say base times height. You can also have a triangular pyramid, which I don't actually have an example of. So we can also have a triangular one, which is base times height over 2. So big B is still those same 3 formulas depending on the shape of your base. So let's look at number 5. What shape do we have there? We have a pyramid. What shape is the base of our pyramid?
Square.
Okay, how can we say a square instead of a rectangle?
Because 2 sides are the same that are next to each other.
Good, because the sides are the same. So when we start with our big B, we're going to do base times height because it's a rectangle or a square. So that would be 10 times 10. So big B is 100. Now for volume, I'm going to do my big B. Do I know H, the height of the pyramid? What do we have to remember about our height? It has to make what kind of angle with the base? It has to make a 90. So does this 13, is that a 90 with the base? Mm-mm. This side right here is the one that's 90 with the base. How might we figure out what that is? Pythagorean theorem. Because if you look at this right here, that 13 is a hypotenuse. What would this slide length be right here? Between the center and the edge? 5. Because it goes right to the middle. So if we do our Pythagorean theorem, 13 squared equals 10, not 10, 5 squared plus x squared, we would get 169 minus 25 equals x squared. Let's see, what's 169 minus 25? 144. So that means my height is 12. So I can plug that in for my height. divide by 3. So on some, usually this happens mostly on pyramids. If you're given the height, this is called the slant height, the 13, because it's the height of the slant part of the pyramid. A lot of times when you're given that, you're going to have to do Pythagorean theorem to get that actual height. So don't fall into that trap of using slant height instead. So when you multiply this out, 100 times 12 divided by 3, you get 400, and we're in feet, so feet cubed. Okay, any questions so far on pyramids, cones, prisms, or cylinders? Okay, so then our last one, because we have a total of 5 types. We have prisms, cylinders, pyramids, cones, and the last one is spheres. So the sphere (4 pi r to the 3rd over 3). And if you look at the top of your paper, it writes all of the, like for pyramid and cone, it wrote 1/3 big B times h. This one, it writes 4/3. A lot of times I find it's easier to wait and do the divided by 3 after you figure out the whole numerator, but they're the same thing, okay? So if it makes more sense to write it the way it is at the top of your paper, that's fine, or you can write it this way, it's the same thing. So what's the only thing we have to know here to find the volume of a sphere?
Radius.
The radius. Everything else is a constant. So r is the radius of the sphere. Okay, any questions so far?